What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. I'm here to make it up for you. I completely admit that last video on how to make a Kydex wallet, it was a steaming turd, an utter disaster. Really don't know what happened. When I edited the video, everything came out fine. I upload it and suddenly it goes to hell in a handbag. So today we are going to make that up to you. I'm going to start over from the beginning and we're going to show you how to make a slim, efficient, effective Kydex wallet that you're going to love. So let's get to it. All right, the great thing about this Kydex wallet design is you're going to need very little material. In fact, it's probably going to be a scrap of material that wasn't much useful for anything else, maybe a knife sheath or something like that. This one I happen to have laying around. I had already written on it. This is an 8x5 piece, so 8 inches wide this way, 5 inches tall. You're also going to need a stack of cards. So these happen to be hotel room keys, and as I travel for work, I save these things and I bring them back for various projects. So what you'll need is a number of cards that are about what you're going to carry in your wallet on a day-to-day basis. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 9. Yours may be slimmer than that. You may want to go slimmer. You may want to go thicker. But that's the great thing about this. You can customize it to your needs. I've glued these together and I've taped it all the way around to make sure that they stay secure in the press. So we've got those, and you're going to need one single rivet. You can actually do this without any rivet, but I'm going to show you why in a little bit that I like to put that in there. It's actually for a piece of paracord. So with that being said, let's get to it. We're going to mark the center line of this piece of Kydex. Obviously, we've talked about this. If you watched the first video, you probably got to the part. Kydex has two sides. You've got the side with the grain, which is the coarser side. You've got the smooth side on the back. We want to mark the center line on the smooth side, and we're going to use our white Stabilo pencil. This is great for marking on Kydex because it wipes off when you're done. They come in a number of different colors, but I actually really like the white ones for Kydex. I've also got blue ones. I use these things quite a bit whenever I do pinstriping, hand painting, pinstriping, something like that. Now, the reason why I like to mark this center line is because after this comes out of the oven, you want to move quickly while the material's still pliable. It gives me an idea where I want to lay the cards, where I want to fold it over, and it just makes it as quick as possible for me while the material is still heated up. So with that being said, we're going to move this material over to the oven. We're going to heat it up to between 325 and 340 degrees. We're going to use just a standard toaster oven to do this, and we're going to use a digital thermometer to make sure that we have our temperature right on. From there, we'll move to the press. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so the temperature is almost perfect. You're going to see that we need to move fast. Once we move the material out, we're going to run over, we're going to put it in the press. That's where that center line comes into play. Have your clamps ready and get ready to rock. Here we go. All right, let's take this thing apart and let's see what kind of magic we're working with here. There it is, guys. This is going to be the start of our wallet before we shape it. Check that out. That really came out crisp and clean. Now let's talk about shaping this into the exact size and dimensions of the wallet that we're looking for. Obviously we have a lot of material, and that was intentional. So I like to leave about an 1/8 inch of extra material from the edge of the card going out. So, and as luck would have it, it's about the width of a pencil or a pen. So you can use that just as a quick improvisation tool. Improvisation. Good. Oh, what is wrong with me? And just kind of mark your lines all the way around. This doesn't have to be perfect. Now at the top, it's going to be a little bit different. So at the top, what I like to do is, instead of having a straight edge here, I want to leave a little bit extra on this side and work my way down. I'm going to show you why. Let's go ahead and use this pen. That's going to be at an angle on the top. And the reason why is where that one rivet came into play that we talked about before. I want to drill a hole up here and add that rivet so that then we can add a piece of paracord later on. So if you can see from the way I've sketched that out, that's what we're going to end up with. So we need to cut away all of this material here, here, and here. And then, so we're going to use that with the, you could either do it one of two ways. You can score it and snap it, or if you have a scroll saw, take it to the scroll saw, zip it off, and then take it to the belt sander so that we can work our final edge out. So let's do that. I'm going to use the scroll saw, and then we're going to use the belt sander. All right, now that we've got our rough cuts done, you can see really rough edges, we're going to go to the belt sander. When we do, we're also going to round off these corners because it's not good to have any sharp edges sticking into you in your pocket and things like that. So we're going to round these just by a simple turning it technique. And so let's go over there. Let's get that done. Another thing I would tell you, a tip when using the belt sander, this stuff makes some ultra fine powder. A person that was actually viewing the original wallet video gave me some feedback and said, hey, you might want to use some face protection when doing that. Stuff's not good to breathe. So absolutely wear a face mask while you're doing this. So now you can see what we're working with. You see how this comes out about an 1/8 inch from the sides here. Then what that's going to do is give you a really good seal so there's no chance cards are going to slip out. We've rounded the edges so to protect your family jewels when you have this little number in your pocket. And I've went ahead and marked where I want to go to the drill press, and we want to drill a 1/4 inch hole so that we can put that rivet in. So now let's go ahead, we're going to go over to the drill press and we're going to drill out that hole, pop in the rivet. And notice at this point we still have the cards are still sandwiched inside here. And I did that for a very good reason, which you're getting ready to find out after we pop in that rivet. So let's go do that now. So we've got the hole drilled. We're going to pop in the rivet. When you work with these rivets, there's a factory beveled side or smash side, and then there's the one that you will be smashing. The factory side is a little flared out more. I always like to have the factory side facing what will be the facing side, the upward side of your wallet. So let's go ahead and pop that rivet in there like so. Now we're going to go to the arbor press that already is set up with we've got our die set, and we've got the guide. And all of these things, from the Kydex to the rivets to the, I believe this is called a journeyman set, I get all this stuff from knifekits.com. I'm not sponsored by them at all. I buy all these things, but I do find it very convenient to be able to get it all in one spot. Just set it in there. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to just really hulk this thing down. You will snap a rivet. So it's just a really easy, gentle, you push it down, and it's set. Simple as that. And now we've got our rivet in there. So we've got a perfect spot for our paracord. So there we have it. We're getting near the home stretch. A couple more steps. Okay, so now the reason that I was telling you why I like to leave the cards in here. Obviously, there's no way to get your cards out right now. What we're going to have to do is cut a 45 degree, this first layer of Kydex. We're going to cut that off. That's going to make your cards accessible to you. And it's just a lot easier to do with the stiffness that the cards provide. So let's go ahead. I want to mark out where I want to make that cut at, and we'll go ahead and get that done. Let me find something here to use as a straight edge. We'll just use this file. And then I want to determine where I want to make that cut. So I want to have a little bit, you see how if I were to cut that off there, I would have this corner of the card exposed, and that's going to give me the ability to thumb that card out of the wallet, and that's exactly what I want. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and mark this line. So that's where we're going to want to cut. And this you will have to use a utility knife, an X-Acto knife, something like that. You want to be careful. You want to, if you push too firmly down and this thing slides, you're either one, going to cut yourself, or two, you're going to score your wallet in a place that you don't want to. So for the initial cuts, let's just go lightly. We're going to score it, and then we're going to go back and snap it, and we're actually going to have to use a pair of pliers to get that done. So let's go ahead and score this lightly, following that line. Once you've scored it lightly a few times, that's going to give you a nice valley for your knife blade to follow into. Now, I'll be honest with you, my knife blade right now is not as sharp as it should be. And I remember growing up and my dad always telling me that a sharp knife is a safe knife, and a dull knife is what's going to get you hurt. And the reason why is because the knife isn't doing the work for you. You're pushing so hard on there, there's a really good chance that you are going to slip off. So again, just score, and then we're going to snap. You could cut all the way through this if you wanted, but all you're really going to do is risk going into the next layer, and that's not ideal. Now let's see if we're deep enough. Now, to separate this, sometimes it's not that easy because we've already gone through and sawed this, and it kind of wanted to fuse the edges together. So you may also need to use your utility knife and find that seam and work forward from there. You really easily found that seam, slide it around gently, and you can hear it. You can hear it separate, which is great. Let's go ahead and open that up. Sometimes it's sealed pretty good, and you might need a screwdriver or something in there. That's not what I was looking for. There we go. Just wanted to see if I can get the pliers on there. That's really what I was trying to do. Of course, I got them on and it slipped right off. So just be patient with it. Got the pliers on. I'll just work at twisting that free. It's going to be a little bit stuck to the cards inside. That's okay. And I think I need to score just a tiny bit more. There it goes. Alright, so here it is. I was able to get that corner off of there. Probably, let me see, get a good camera angle. Oh, that's even better. So I probably should have scored it a little bit deeper. I had to wrestle with it a bit, but it did work. You may also find that your cards get a little stuck in there from time to time. Mine did. Again, had to wrestle with it, but they will come out. Don't worry about it. I want to show you now, though, how it works, because if you haven't seen one of these in person, you might be like, well, how the hell is that going to hold my cards? Well, let me show you. I've got some more cards here, and roughly about the same amount, maybe one or two more or less, I'm not sure. Start with the corner of the card and enter it in that slot that you just cut, and it pops right in. Extremely nice. Check this out, though. I'm putting no pressure on the sides of this Kydex, and these cards, they're not falling out. But if you want to get one, I purposely put a white card on top to contrast it. Just take your thumb, gently pop it right out. So nice and smooth, doesn't cause any damage to your cards at all. Last thing that we need to do is kind of smooth out these edges. I'm actually going to take a file. I found that a machine file for metal works very well and smooths this out. And then when I take it to the buffing wheel, which is the absolute final step, it's able to polish those up really easy. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit and fast forward through it, because there's really nothing to sanding. Anybody could do it. All right, the sanding is complete, or the filing rather. And again, I'm just knocking off any corners that this thing may have. But the ultimate finish is going to be had just by using this bench buffer. It's got a cotton head on there. I bought this whole setup at Harbor Freight. It works just fine. And you're just going to lightly go over these edges, and I'll show you what a mirror finish you can get out of it. It's really quite amazing. All right, the polishing's done. Let me see if I can get an angle. Look at that. So that shine that you're seeing right there is the finish on that edge. And it is unbelievable. It does a couple things for you. One, if you're going to be selling these or giving them away, it just shows the level of detail you were willing to add to it. Two, it also protects, the inside of your pants pocket, your shorts pocket. When you grab it, you don't have any sharp edges. It just feels comfortable. I do have a paracord already tied, a lanyard made. I'll probably throw that on there at some point. But other than that, guys, this is it. It's finished. So hopefully this video helped you. Hopefully